Catherine Fiore, EU reporter. I'd like to ask a question, firstly, to the Minister. Was there broad agreement on the timing of the end period of this transitional period? I mean, the Commission, the EU wants an orderly withdrawal. Will that be possible if the future relationship is not in place by the 1st of January 2021? And I'd also like to ask the same question to Michel Barnier as well. I mean, how can you ensure this orderly withdrawal if we're looking at just another cliff edge just further down the line? Thank you.
Maybe I first start.
We are all interested in a smooth and orderly withdrawal. And this is the aim of the negotiating team and of the member states, of the 27 member states. And I do believe that we have joint interest here in this respect with the UK. What the transition period can give us is an opportunity for a smooth and orderly withdrawal and end of the relations. And as Michel mentioned, we have a lot of work to do. And what we agreed upon during the Council earlier today was that the fixed date will be the date upon the decision of the December European Council, namely for a fixed specific cut-off date for the transition period. But the negotiation directives and the declaration that was approved by the Council allow for flexibility in terms of this period, in case we didn't manage to achieve progress on the negotiations for the future. What is of interest to both parties is to have a fixed, specific date and security of the duration of the transition period. It cannot be an endless period. It is not to the UK's interest.
Comme vient de le dire
Well, as you've just heard from the Minister, it's in nobody's interest, certainly not in the UK's interests, to drag on, to extend that period of instability or uncertainty. We're working on an orderly withdrawal. There will be an agreement founded on the joint report. And all of that is intended to inject stability where the decision on Brexit, the decision to leave the EU, has created a lot of instability and uncertainty and concern and worry for many citizens. So the more precise we are about this during these negotiations, the better it will be. Now, can we do everything? Well, we have to select priorities because there will be a short period of official negotiations. I think there are priorities. We have to look ahead to the idea of a free trade agreement. There are other priorities such as home affairs, other areas of cooperation between the UK and the EU for defence and security, just to give a few examples. Now, from my experience of the way in which the Commission and the Parliament work, I'm convinced that we can work quickly and well in the course of this period. We're not starting these negotiations with a blank piece of paper. The UK is leaving the single market. So for trade negotiations, we wouldn't be in the same position exactly as countries who are very far away from us, not just geographically, but sometimes in regulatory terms, very different or far away from us. So it's a different thing. Now, I've talked about the level playing field which should last after this all happens. We shouldn't have regulatory divergence becoming some means of dumping. That's very key to both us and to the British. So we have to say that when we start writing this agreement, we won't be starting with a blank piece of paper. We have something to go on. We have cooperation with third countries in most areas. And we are screening various instruments, looking at foreign policy and defence in particular.